Myles, Kevin talked about how the defense was put in such bad spots today. So how did you guys think you handled it, given the short fields you were given all day?
Not well enough. We got to hold those short fields to 3 or less. And we know we have a higher standard than what we showed out on the field today.
Why does Shedeur Sanders in that moment have more poise than Jeudy? Yeah. Jeudy, you should be teaching Shedeur. Completely unacceptable by Jeudy. Completely unacceptable for several reasons. Number one, Jeudy, you the one that fumbled that play last week versus the Raiders, and Shedeur didn't come at you. You the one that had that 39-yard play. Should have been Shedeur's second, if not his biggest play of the day, had you made somebody miss. But instead, you start dancing in the open field, force fumble. Shedeur don't come at you yelling and whatnot. Now, I don't know the type of friendship or connection they have off the field, so maybe they both have a mutual level of respect. But on the field with the cameras on, Jeudy, now's not the time, and that sure as hell ain't the place. That's the rookie in his second start just trying to get right. You, in that moment, are not helping Shedeur Sanders get right.
Hey, Myles. Kevin talked about how the defense was put in such bad spots today, and that sure as hell ain't the place. That's the rookie in his second start just trying to get right. You in that moment are not helping Shedeur Sanders get right. You in that moment are just adding more chaos. Why in the world does the rookie have more poise than the vet? That makes no sense. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. The crazy thing is, the play is over. The game is over. But the second that clip of Jeudy barking at Shedeur on the sideline hits the timeline, it feels like the whole NFL world just hit rewind and slow-mo at the same time. You know that feeling when a moment doesn't just happen, it lands? That's what this was. This wasn't your typical guys arguing on the bench thing. This felt different. You could see it in Jeudy's body language, in Shedeur's composure, in the way teammates were glancing over like, yo, what are we doing right now? And then the internet did what the internet does. Instantly, the clip goes up, and boom, fans are in the comments picking sides like it's a playoff game. Half the people screaming, Shedeur's overrated, he finally got checked, and the other half firing back, Jeudy been mid all year, and he's talking to the rookie like that. It turned into a referendum in real time, and that's when you realize this wasn't about that one misread, that one route, that one throw. This is about everything that's been building around Shedeur Sanders from the second he touched the NFL stage. Because with Shedeur, nothing is ever just football. It's always something more. Swagger versus act like you've been there. Hype versus prove it. Old heads versus the new wave. Every little thing he does gets blown up 10 times bigger than it would be for any other young quarterback. If another rookie misses a throw, he's learning. If Shedeur misses a throw, he's exposed. That's the double standard that's been simmering for months. He's not just a quarterback. He's Dayon's son, he's a brand, he's a walking headline. And a lot of people in this league don't know how to handle that. Some guys respect it, some guys resent it. And Jeudy, in that moment, became the face of that resentment. But then something wild happens. This thing doesn't stay a sideline spat. It doesn't stay an internet argument. It catches the attention of a man who does not waste his words. Myles Garrett. And when a dude like Garrett decides he's got something to say about how a young quarterback is being treated, that's when this storyline goes from drama to danger. That's when you know there are real consequences attached. Because now, it's not just fans arguing on X, it's one of the most feared defenders in the league, basically saying, nah, we're not doing this. And that's the whole point. What happened between Jeudy and Shedeur Sanders on that sideline? That wasn't the story. The story is what that moment revealed about this league, about this generation, and about who's really ready to ride for Shedeur when the heat gets turned up. Shedeur Sanders isn't just walking into the NFL, he's walking straight into a spotlight that most rookies would crumble under. And what blows my mind is how quickly everyone decided they already know who he is. 2 starts. That's it. 2 starts where the kid is throwing behind a shaky O-line, receivers can't get separation, and Jeudy, the same dude who wants to point fingers, is out here dropping passes like it's a hobby. But somehow, the narrative falls on Shedeur. Somehow, he's the problem. And that tells you everything about the pressure he's under before he even gets a chance to breathe. The truth is, coaches don't see Shedeur the way the internet does. Coaches see a kid who studies like a vet, commands a huddle, and doesn't shrink when his teammates let him down. That's why he's already holding on to a starting job. That's why he hasn't been rattled, even when the box score looks ugly. teammates, the locker room is split. And that's where it gets interesting. The young guys, the grinders, the dudes fighting for relevance, they love Shedeur. They see the confidence, the consistency, the calm. But some of the older players, especially guys whose production dipped long before Shedeur got here, they resent that his name carries weight. They see attention they never earned, and instead of stepping up, they punch down. It's the same movie we've seen with Cam Newton, with Baker, with Kyler. But with Shedeur, everything is amplified by phones, feeds, and millions of eyeballs waiting to judge the next throw. Opponents treat him like he's already a star. They chirp louder, hit harder, test every inch of his resolve. The media frames him like a celebrity trying to cosplay as a quarterback. Analysts rush in with, "Can he handle the NFL?" takes before he's even had a functioning offense around him. Fans? Oh, they're the wildest part. You've got half the fan base ready to crown him the next great dual threat leader, and the other half calling him entitled because he carries himself like someone who's been doubted his whole life. And that's the twist. Shedeur didn't ask to be a symbol, but the NFL decided he was one. He isn't being judged as a young quarterback. He's being judged as a movement. Every snap feels like a referendum. Every misread gets blown into a crisis. But every flash of brilliance, barely a whisper. And that's why the sideline moment with Jeudy hit so hard. A second-year quarterback kept his poise while a veteran melted down. That tells you everything you need to know about who's actually built for this. Yet before Shedeur even has time to grow, the world is already deciding who he's allowed to be. And that's where this story starts getting dangerous. The thing people don't want to admit is this. The pressure surrounding Shedeur Sanders isn't normal. It isn't fair. And it sure as hell isn't football only. There's a whole ecosystem of critics circling him, waiting for any crack, any stumble, any moment they can twist into a headline. And what blows me away is how predictable the pattern is. Veteran players who can't stand the way the younger generation carries itself suddenly feel bold around Shedeur. Analysts who ignore the film start nitpicking his chains, his posture, his swagger. Fans who don't watch the full game blame him for everything. The drops, the fumbles, the miscommunications, the protection breakdowns. Like he's supposed to be Superman out there carrying a roster that still hasn't found its identity. And looming over all of it, the thing nobody can escape is the weight of being Deion Sanders' son. Every mistake he makes gets framed as Prime's kid couldn't handle it. Every success gets dismissed as hype. Being born into greatness isn't a privilege in the NFL. It's a target. And that's why this Jeudy situation hit different. Let's stop pretending Jeudy snapped because of one missed throw. This wasn't about a route. This wasn't about timing. This was ego, bruised, dented, cracked, by a rookie who already has more poise, more attention, and more expectation than Jeudy has had in 5 seasons. And the moment that ego got tested, Jeudy didn't look inward. He swung outward. He went at the easiest target in the room, the young quarterback trying to steady a sinking offense. This is the part players don't talk about publicly. When resentment grows, it turns into hostility. And when hostility simmers long enough, it spills over into something physical. That's why the reports of a shoving match matter. Not because it's gossip, but because it proves the pressure around Shedeur isn't just noise from fans online. It's leaking onto practice fields, it's seeping into locker rooms. Guys feel threatened, guys feel exposed. And when that happens, they lash out. And look, young quarterbacks break in this league all the time under far less weight than this. Some vanish before they ever get started. Some lose confidence and never recover. Some get swallowed by the moment. But Shedeur? The crazy part is he keeps showing the one thing these critics can't manufacture: ice-cold composure. He stood still while Jeudy unraveled. He kept his voice calm while a veteran lost his own control. That's not luck. That's not hype. That's who he is under fire. And this, right here, is the crucible. This is where careers are defined. You either collapse under the pressure, or you climb. The moment Myles Garrett stepped into this story, everything shifted. Instantly. You could feel it. Because when a guy like Myles talks, the entire league listens. And that's not exaggeration. That's reality. This is one of the most respected defenders in the NFL. A top-tier leader, a tone setter, a guy who almost never comments on drama unless something deeper is going on. So, when he decides to speak up about how a young quarterback is being treated. That's not noise. That's a message. And here's what makes it even more powerful. Myles Garrett has absolutely nothing to gain from defending Shedeur Sanders. They don't play together. They don't share a locker room. They don't share a playbook, a coach, or a franchise. The only reason a veteran of his stature steps into this kind of mess is because he sees something real in the kid, something worth protecting, something worth speaking on. That's why this moment matters, because it's the first time Shedeur's narrative flips from target to protected. And trust me, veterans don't do this lightly, especially elite defenders. These guys are wired to go after quarterbacks, not vouch for them. So, when a Defensive Player of the Year talent basically plants a flag and says, "Nah, this kid deserves better," that tells you Shedeur isn't just surviving the chaos. He's earning respect through it. Think about what Garrett said. He didn't rant. He didn't attack back. He spoke with that calm, surgical tone he uses when he's breaking down a game. And in that tone, he made it clear. The way Shedeur was being treated violated the code, the unwritten standard every real veteran knows. You don't tear down your young QB. You don't rattle his confidence. You build him up. You guide him. And watching Shedeur handle the Jeudy meltdown better than the veteran who caused it, that's leadership showing earlier than anyone expected. And trust me, teammates notice. Coaches notice, scouts especially notice. You think they're not talking about the way Shedeur absorbed the blame while Jeudy deflected it? You think they missed how Shedeur kept huddles calm, kept the offense organized, kept responding with steadiness even while the rest of the unit fell apart? There have already been whispers out of camp. This kid studies like a 10-year veteran. He's the first one in meeting rooms. He's asking for extra installs. He's texting coaches late at night about coverage tendencies. That stuff matters way more than one sideline argument. And that's why Myles Garrett stepping in becomes such a massive turning point. Because no matter what media personalities say, no matter how fans twist narratives, you cannot erase the legitimacy a superstar veteran gives you. Not with takes, not with clips, not with noise. When a player at the top of his craft says, "I respect this young guy," that sticks. This isn't the beginning of some rescue arc. Nobody saved Shedeur. He didn't need saving. What happened here was something entirely different, something earned. This wasn't a rescue. It was a recognition. A storm is coming, and the craziest part is, I don't think the NFL is ready for it. Because everything we just watched unfold, the arguments, the criticism, the finger pointing, the veterans stepping in, this isn't a sign that Shedeur Sanders is cracking under pressure. It's the exact opposite. This is the moment in every great player's story where the outside world thinks they're watching a downfall. But what they're actually witnessing is the spark of a revolution. Look around at the landscape right now. You've got this old guard in the league, the vets who came up in a different era, looking at Shedeur like he's skipping the line, too confident, too flashy, too loud. And every time he makes a mistake, that group pounces. They want him humbled. They want him checked. They want him to earn it the hard way, even though half the people judging him never carried this kind of spotlight a day in their lives. Then you've got the new wave, the players who grew up with YouTube, NIL deals, and quarterbacks with million-view highlight reels before they even got to college. Those guys look at Shedeur and see the future. A guy who plays with swagger but studies like a machine. A guy who can handle the noise and still deliver. A guy who walks in with a target on his back and never flinches. And every critic, every doubt, every sideline blow-up, it's fuel. They're giving him exactly what he was built to rise above. Think about it. How many young quarterbacks get this kind of national attention after 2 starts? How many walk into a locker room already carrying expectations bigger than some 10-year pros? And how many have a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, a face of the franchise superstar, step forward and basically say, "If you come at him, you come through me"? That doesn't happen for average players. That doesn't happen for hype alone. That happens when veterans, real ones, respected ones, see a spark that reminds them of why they fell in love with this game in the first place. And that's why everything changes now. This isn't the start of a breakdown. This is the start of a breakout. The league is about to get hit with a quarterback who's not only talented, not only confident, but battle-tested by drama he didn't even create. He didn't crumble. He didn't lash out. he didn't melt under the weight. He stayed composed while the veteran lost it. That's leadership. That's maturity. That's star DNA. Incidents like this, these become defining chapters in a career. Years from now, when people talk about the rise of Shedeur Sanders, this entire saga, the Jeudy conflict, the media frenzy, the veteran stepping in, this will be the moment everyone points back to and says, yeah, that's when we knew. Because Jerry Jeudy tried to shake him. The league tried to test him. But what they did instead was awaken the biggest storyline of the next decade. And if Myles Garrett is planting his flag beside Shedeur Sanders, then you better believe the NFL is about to feel every bit of the storm that's coming. What do you think? Is the league ready for Shedeur, or is this just the beginning of something way bigger than anyone expected? Let me know in the comments. This conversation is far from over.